That's it. That's it. If you believe, you can do anything. Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome. We'll see if we'll have any, we're probably going to have a few people like coming in as we go. Jay, do you mind if I make you co-host? Yeah, look at you. You said yes before I even asked you. I just love that. That way you can let people in. And just like a little warning, I did this webinar on whenever it was, I don't know, a few days ago. And for some reason, mid through it, like my whole internet just went out and it was bizarre. Like, and I couldn't get it back for like 10 minutes. And it just happened again on my call. I was just with Jade a little bit earlier. I think I've solved it. But, and I also have my phone as a backup, but I just want you to know if I disappear, just wait, I'll come back. But I don't think it's going to happen this time. So there we have it.
Prepare
So
your jokes now, everyone, since I'm co-host.
you're the go. Yeah, prepare your jokes. That's right. Is that what you guys do when I'm gone? You just make jokes? Okay, fine with me. Well, anyway, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. You could be anywhere, right? You could be scrolling, you could be out there hustling, numbing out, but something in you said yes to being here. And that yes matters because it tells me that you're someone who senses that there's more, right? There's maybe more freedom, more peace, more alignment. And maybe you can feel it, right? That quiet whisper that says, you know what? I think I came here for something greater, right? I came here for something greater, and I know it. And that's what today is about. It isn't just about why you don't have what you want yet. It's about why the world doesn't have what it wants yet. Because it's the same mechanisms that block your peace are the same ones blocking peace on the planet. So no pressure, right? No pressure at all. But here's the deal. You can actually do something about it. Because when you shift your internal context towards peace, that ripple moves outward, right? So, and that's how transformation actually ends up becoming awakening. And that's the business I'm in. I'm in the business of awakening. So before we dive in, let me tell you why I care so much about this. So I've spent the past 20 something years teaching gratitude and peace around the world. I'm the founder of the gratitude trainings and the Rewire for Peace programs that have to date reached over 20,000 graduates globally. I'm also a published author, keynote speaker, blah, blah, blah. Most importantly, a lifelong student of what it means to live from love rather than fear. So, what I'm sharing today isn't just theory, right? It's lived, it's tested, and I've seen what happens when ordinary people start shifting their context. They change, right? And everything around them changes too. So, before we go into the framework that I'm going to teach you today, let's get to know each other a bit. So, drop in the chat where you're tuning in from, whether it's a city or country. I'm in Spain. I know Joanna is in Spain. We got Jade in Canada. So let's see. Let's see where you guys are from. And maybe even a word or something that describes why you're here today. Why did you sign up for this? What called you forth to be here? Because you're here. So you chose to be here. And usually when we do things, there's a driving force behind it. So think about what that driving force might have been, and you could drop that in one word, two word sentence, just no novels because we won't have time to read it. So we got Alberta, we got Minnesota, we got Florida, JP, New York. Yes. JP, you're still in New York, huh? I have a friend here on Mallorca that knows you. Did you know that? Um, her mom was a big actress. It was so bizarre. Now I can't. Christina, I don't know her last name. Christina and Philip. Does that ring a bell? Okay, we'll talk about it later.
No,
Anyway,
no, but
uh,
yeah, thank you
yeah.
though. So it's nice to be remembered, right?
I know. I know, right? I remember you very well. Okay, awesome. Feeling stuck, feeling stuck. I love it. That's why we're here, right? So we got people from everywhere, and you know, all of us really have something in common because most of us are, doers, right? We do things. Like we read the books, we build our businesses, we raise our families, we've done maybe some of the inner work, right? And yet there's still a sense that, what's missing, there's more. And that's my world too, right? I've spent over 20 years teaching transformation and leadership, not from theory, right, but from falling flat on my face, right, and then rebuilding, and then realizing that all the how-tos in the world won't work if your inner operating system is off. So I'm going to say this up front so that you guys can prepare yourself mentally and emotionally. I'm going to go a little deeper than a regular webinar today. I'm going to go a little deeper. Not like woo-woo deep, but like results deep. Because surface level tools is not going to fix what's happening at the level of being. So I might challenge some of you what you think you know, right? And so I guess I'm asking for permission to do that. And the permission is you stay on the call, right? If you agree, you're staying on the call. If you get off, I know you're like, I'm not ready to be triggered in any kind of way today. Okay, so let's get into the real mechanics of why you do not have what you want or why you may feel like you're stuck. We're going to start with the foundation, right? So most people are obsessed with content, right? Content being our goals, the habits, the hacks, the how-tos, and I'll say this too, like the bottomless need for like material stuff, right? We're obsessed with it. We're obsessed with content. And the thing is, content does matter, but it does live inside a container, right? Your content lives inside of a container. We're going to call that context. And if the context is fear, no amount of strategy or action will create peace or success or results or whatever it is you're looking for, right? If the context is scarcity, uh, abundance and money will always feel out of reach. And we can look at it this way. Imagine planting a palm tree seed in Florida, right? You plant a palm tree seed. What happens? Most likely, it's going to grow into a palm tree. It might even flourish. It might thrive. Because why? Because Florida is an environment, it's a context for palm trees to exist and, in some cases, thrive. Now, if we were to take that same seed and we would plant it in like Alaska or the North Pole, it dies, right? It can't become a palm tree. Like I'm saying, it dies. It dies before it even becomes anything. Same seed, right? Different environment, different container. So let me put this up real quick. Now, we're all born creators, right? And I'm going to assert that we're all here to plant good seeds, right? Love, effort, ambition, connection, whatever it is, right? But if the soil of our consciousness is operating at judgment, shame, blame, or fear, nothing sustainable can grow. And no matter what we try to do, right? We're simply just operating and taking actions in the same context, in the same environment, in the same container. And then we're like, okay, well, maybe if I plant 10 seeds, it'll grow. Or maybe if I put 50 seeds, 100 seeds, it'll grow. It won't. Not if you're not in the right environment or the right context. So then the question to ask ourselves in our lives isn't really, well, what do I do? What do I need to do? What can I do here? The question is, who am I being? And even who do I need to be to create the things that I want to create in my life? Like what frequency, like what field, what context am I generating? Because context doesn't just shape your life, it also shapes the collective field and energy that we are all breathing in together. Again, no pressure. So let's do this. Drop in the chat, put in the chat Pick an area that you feel like you've been doing everything right, but the result hasn't landed yet. It could be money, love, relationship, health, peace, global peace, career, parenting. Like just think of an area where you're like, you know what? I'm freaking checking off the boxes and crossing the T's and dotting the I's or whatever you say here in America, right? Purpose, right? That's a great area, right? Or my business, right? Your career, your business, supporting others on their path. Beautiful. And you're about to see why and how to shift it, right? Money, relationships, beautiful. So we're going to do an experience together. Yay. So I'm going to show you three phrases. You should see the same seed, different soil screen up right now. Actually, let me take that off right now, put this on. So I'm going to show you on the screen, I'm going to show you three phrases that you've either seen before, heard before, or said before. And I'm going to show it here on the screen, right? And I just want you to read it silently. Like no comments in the chat, no ahas, no ooh, like just read it silently to yourself, even if you've seen it before. And then after a few seconds, I'm going to remove the text from the screen. Okay, so again, I'm going to show you three statements that you've either heard, seen, or said before. So here we go. Everybody look on the screen. Here we go. I think that's enough time. All right. Okay, so if you just read bird in the hand, pears in the spring, or once in a lifetime, either raise your hand or drop a yes in the chat. So if you just read bird in the hand, pears in the spring, or once in a lifetime, drop a yes in the chat, or let me see some hands. Okay, I see a hand. Okay, see some yeses. Beautiful. Okay, now if you read something else, just, I'm going to ask you to be silent. Don't say anything in the chat, right? No comments in the chat. Now, I want you all to notice your reaction when I say this, especially for those that read bird in the hand, pears in the spring, once in a lifetime. Here it is. It doesn't say that. It doesn't. It does not say bird in the hand, pears in the spring, once in a lifetime. I'm telling you that it's not saying, it doesn't say that. And I'm going to give you a chance to look again, but I also want you to notice your inner world right now. Or you're like, no, I know what I saw. Or you're like, oh, Jo's a liar. Or I can't trust her. She's trying to trick me. Or this is stupid. I want to get off the call. Whatever your inner dialogue is, just notice you doing you. So I'm going to show it to you again and give you another chance to look at this. All right. So here we go. Ready? Boom. So just read it silently to yourself. Just read it. And I'm going to take it away. Okay. Again, if you just read bird in the hand, pears in the spring, once in a lifetime, put a yes in the chat or raise your hand. Okay. See a couple of yeses, see a couple of hands. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It doesn't say that. I promise you, it does not say that. So again, notice your inner world, inner dialogue, like what is going on here? And like maybe that was a different screen the second time, or whatever you think I might be doing. I'm just telling you, it doesn't say that. So is there anyone on this call that just read bird in the hand, pears in the spring, and once in a lifetime that's willing to let me challenge you a little bit, or work with you, I should say. Let's do this. If you read bird in the hand, pears in the spring, once in a lifetime, and you're willing to have me work with you for a second, please put me in the meeting chat. And if nobody puts me, you know what's going to happen. I'm going to just call you out. I don't see any me. There we go, Carl. Beautiful. Beautiful. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add you here. That's a spotlight so they can see you. And I'll do.
I'm unmuted.
Spotlight. There we go. You're perfect. All right. So Carl, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the slide up again. And I want you to read it out loud for everyone to hear it, right? And for everyone else, you could read it to yourself too, or you could just listen to what he says as he's reading it. Are you ready, Carl?
Yes.
Here we go.
Bird in the hand, oh, bird in the hand, pears in the spring, once in a lifetime.
So now you saw it. Now
Correct.
you realize, right? Now you
Yes.
saw it. So for those of you that also didn't see it until he just pointed out that it actually says bird in the hand, pears in the spring, or once in a lifetime.
Or a lifetime.
Um, just know that there are other people that didn't see it until then either. You know what I mean? So the question is, let's give Carl a hand. Beautiful. You caught it really quickly. I've had people up here reading it over and over and over again, but
I
sometimes
know.
even hearing yourself will have you look more because now like, oh wait, I'm putting out there what I'm about to say. So that's awesome. Yes, we give you a hand and I'm going to take you off the spotlight and then we're going to do this. What just happened, right? So you all just looked right at something, but saw something else. And what happened is your brain actually edited reality, what was real. And that is something we have something called our reticular activating system, right? It's sort of like a filter between what is and what you see. And what it does is it lets in what's familiar. Because remember, I said, I'm going to read a phrase that you guys have either seen before, heard before, said before. Now, your brain immediately went to the past to look for something that you've seen or heard before. So it lets in what's familiar, what matches your beliefs, and what you subjectively deem true or valuable, right? What you deem true or valuable. And it's usually based on your past conditioning and information. And then what it does is it simply discards the rest. And it does this to protect us because if we were to take in all information available to us in any given moment, hold on, let me take this off actually. There we go. In any given moment, we would go mad, right? If we took in all the information at any given moment, we'd go mad. And so here's the thing. The quality of our life actually depends on how our mind is wired. If your mind is tuned to fear, you're going to see a world that's dangerous. If your mind is tuned to scarcity, you're going to start seeing lack everywhere. If your mind is tuned to judgment, you're going to experience hate or separation. It's like our brain is almost like a search engine, like Google. Right? Whatever you type, consciously or unconsciously, delivers matching results. So if you're constantly in a I'm not enough, I'm not enough, I'm not enough, you're going to find endless evidence outside of you that you are not enough. If you because that's what your reticular activating system is going to let in. It's not even going to hear the good stuff then. If you type in I'm whole, perfect and complete, then the world would actually rearrange itself to prove it to you because now you are looking for evidence that you are. So reality didn't really change, but your context did. And here's the bigger truth. This isn't just personal, it's planetary. Because if enough of us keep typing or choosing fear, we're going to keep generating a fearful world. And a fearful world is wars, division, hate. But when enough of us start coming from peace, love, and wholeness, or choosing that, reality will actually shift and show us more of that. And the best part of context and how you're being is that it's contagious. It's kind of like how moods are contagious. Okay, so I know I'm dumping a lot on you. So let's take a deep breath. Let's just take a breath and just relax your shoulders a little bit and get ready to type in the chat again. Because what I want you to do is I want you to think about an area in your life, right? You already did, right? The one you've been stuck. You can use the one you put. So this area, like maybe you've been stuck recently in it, or maybe your whole life. And I want you to ask yourself, what are some of the just automatic stories that I tell myself about it? So some example might be, life is always hard for me, or people can't be trusted. Another story might be like, there's just not enough time, there's not enough money, there's just not enough. Or maybe some of you are like, the world is too broken, it's not worth it. Right? So write in the chat and be vulnerable and honest, right? Don't edit, just get it out. So based on where you feel like you're stuck, really dig deep inside and go like, what are some of the stories that I might be telling myself that are not supporting this? Maybe it's like, it's hard to make money, or I will always be alone, right? Okay, let's see. Supporting others on their pathway. I'm here on this planet to serve. Why would I ask for money? Okay, right? That's a story. So you're not bringing in money. Who else? Not enough money. There's not enough money. I'm stuck and I can't restart. Like I'm just stuck here, right? I'm not good enough, right? I'm not good enough. Not enoughness in a few areas. Yes, Lisette, don't trust and don't make enough. You guys are awesome. Beautiful. Now, the moment you name the story or share the story, like you just did, you have an opportunity because you can actually be stopped. You can stop being run by it. You've already taken a step right now of just going like identifying it and putting it down. And that's the moment that awakening begins. When you realize that you've been bamboozled by your past or hypnotized by your past, right? You're not actually seeing life. You are not seeing life. All you're seeing is your conditioning. You're not seeing reality. You're seeing your conditioning. And that conditioning collectively is what's keeping most of humanity asleep. And that conditioning that you're seeing through your lens is why you don't have the results you want, even if you quote unquote do everything right. And maybe some of you, you've known this, like you've known this story for a while, but you keep repeating it. You keep getting in webinars and journal it, or in the workshops you do, you keep repeating the knowledge that you know this story, right? Maybe you keep repeating it in your mind. But the problem is that you keep trying to shift this story or this context, or this thing that stops you by doing things differently, taking different how-to classes or reading different books or articles on what to do. When what will actually shift it is to just focus on how you be. And the first step in shifting how you be is to begin to shift your perspective of what you see and how you see it. Now, here's the magic. If you can see your context, if you can actually see it, like you just saw it, like I'm not good enough, or I'm stuck and I can't restart, whatever it is, if you can actually see it, then you can create a new one. And to see it, it takes awareness. It takes noticing. You have to begin to explore and notice like your inner workings, your inner dialogue. That's why I say notice what's going on inside right now, right? Your way of being. You got to notice how you're showing up. Become aware of how you show up in life. And so if you look at the story that you just had, right? The one you just chatted in. Now I want you to ask yourself, okay, let's replace the story. Like what new story would create a successful business or a new relationship or whatever it is you're looking for, right? What new story would create that peace, abundance, joy, success, like whatever it is you want? Like inevitably. So an example would be if you're like, it's always hard. Life is always hard. Then the new story could be, I allow life to support me. Or if you're like, I'm not good enough, right? Or there's not enough, then maybe I am enough and there's more than enough for all. Or if you have a thing that you can't trust people, You could be like, I trust myself and I extend love. So think of a story that would replace the story you had, a story that would support you. And you might not believe it yet, but here's the thing. A belief is a story that's on repeat over a time period. So if you change the story, even though it may feel inauthentic at first, it will eventually become the new normal. And it'll become part of a new context, a new environment, a new place for you to plant all of those intentions and goals and visions that you have. A fertile soil. So if you have that new story or that new, let's say, context, it could be one word or a phrase that you know, if you put that in, if you changed your thoughts towards that, you can see how that would support you in creating what you want. So put that in. It could be one word, it could be a phrase or whatever. So, like, what context do you want to create here? Like, what kind of container would hold all of this? Like, if you're looking to create more clients, like, who would you need to be? Like, what would your context need to be for that? Right? Would it be abundance? Would it be connection? Would it be courage? Maybe it would be commitment. So those are parts that are going to set your context. So think of what would work for you. If you put in a little bit more of this, like you're baking a cake, a little bit more of connection, a little bit more vulnerability, a little bit more intimacy, a little bit more abundance, a little bit more self-assurance, a little bit more, whatever it is, what would it be that you know would have that happen? So type that in the chat. More connections, right? So connections. I can conquer and overcome my past story that I am not enough. Yeah, and maybe even Margaret, I'll even say this, right? You're even you're actually still saying I'm not enough in that, right? Even in that. So maybe it's like I am enough, right? Maybe it's that simple. I am enough. Not like, oh, I want to change the fact that I feel like I'm not enough. Now you're like, what you resist, persist, or what you put your focus on stays, right? So I am enough. Now you're like creating from nothing. Confidence, yes. Supporting others on their path. I love it. I give the gifts of giving to my clients. They pay attention to the solution actually when they invest in themselves and their ROI is even more powerful, right? I am competent and trustworthy. Commitment. Okay, beautiful. Now I want you to just for a second close your eyes. Just for a second, close your eyes. And I want you to presence that new context. I want you to presence whatever you put in, like I am competent and trustworthy, or I am committed, or I am enough, right? Just presence it for a minute. And I want you to feel it as an energy, as a frequency, or as a vibration in your body. And you can, if your shoulders are up, maybe relax your shoulders. If you're breathing too fast, and maybe just let your breath slow for a minute. Open your heart and just be it. Just be enough. Be competent. Be committed. Be a giver. Be connected. Now that's peace, right? That's peace. And peace isn't something that you find. It is something that you generate. When judgment, greed, or fear dissolve, peace doesn't need to be created because it simply reveals itself because it was already there, just like your enoughness. It's already there. Just by being born, you are enough. Then we put all these stories on top of it. So if you still have your eyes closed, you can open your eyes. And here's the thing, like for some of you might just have shifted your entire field just in these last few minutes. So now imagine practicing this consciously for 6 weeks, right? Retraining your brain and body to live in peace, love, and gratitude instead of reaction, judgment, and fear. And that's what we do in the 6-week course, Rewired for Peace, that I teach. So it's actually not even a course. It is a course, but It's more of a reprogramming of how you perceive yourself and the world. And so the next one, I'm just going to let you know now, and I'll pop it in the chat too. The next one starts November 8th if you want to do Saturdays, or November 11th if you want to do Tuesdays. Now you can also skip around from Tuesday to Saturday. It's the same group, but just to offer it twice in a week so that you can make sure you get to all the classes. And it's normally 675, but I'm currently offering a sliding scale that starts at 175. So anyone who feels called can step in. And this is the last one I'm doing too this year. So it's a good time to step in. Okay, so let's take this all a little deeper. Most of the time, your brain or our brain isn't even really making new choices, like new choices. We're just recycling old predictions, right? It pulls from our past and then it paints it all over the present. So if you failed before, your system is going to predict failure again. If you were hurt, you're going to predict more pain. If humanity has been waging wars for centuries, our collective reticular activating system predicts more conflict. And what we focus on, like I said earlier, what we focus on, right, where we put our attention, we will get more of that. And so we keep planting new seeds in yesterday's soil. I've done it too. I'm guilty. For years, my need for approval dictated everything I did. Everything. And it had actually become my operating system. I would blindly just trust people just so that they would like me. I would do too much for them to just get recognition or praise. Like, oh, look at Jo, she's so great, right? I would like strategize love rather than experience love. And when I saw it, like truly saw it, everything shifted. Because when we have our past drive our bus forward or our boat forward, we are simply just surviving. We're just grabbing from the past and like, oh, let's do this and this. We're predicting what we think is going to happen. We're just surviving. We're living in survival. But when we actually choose our context, we choose who we're being in any given moment, you begin to create. You begin to look forward, create from nothing. And that creation doesn't just stop with you creating amazing, extraordinary results in your life. When you operate from, let's say, peace or love or connection or commitment, you actually start becoming like the immune system for the planet. And that's how we can together start transmuting fear. Let's get rid of it. It's just showing up as a way of being. Let's do this. Let's put one word in the chat. One or two. You can put a sentence if you want. I won't get mad, right? But what's your vision for the world? Most of us don't even think about that. Like, what do you mean vision for the world? I'm just trying to get out of bed in the morning, right? But let's think about it. Like vision for the world. If you were to think, like contextually, like big picture. Because when we think big picture, right, then the smaller picture, our own results, are actually effortless. So what's your vision for what? I see peace. I love it. That's my vision too. Peace in my lifetime. To love each other unconditionally. Yes. Love and community. Beautiful. Abundant, connected, and peace, freedom. See that right there, what you're putting in right there, that's the real work. If that's what you want to see in the world, then why not start with us first, you first, right? Why don't you perfect peace? Why don't you perfect abundance or love and community or freedom? Why don't you perfect it from an internal state of being? Because when you do that, your context changes into that, and then that is what will be created. It's the same with everything you do. Now, this is the real work, is to start looking at that. How do I become that? Who do I get to be? How do I show up? And this is why I've been dedicating the last 20 plus years to transformation and awakening with this intention to create peace on the planet in my lifetime. And it's also why I designed Rewired for Peace. It's essentially a lab, like a laboratory for awakening. 6 weeks to rewire your filters, your stories, right? Your nervous system and your relationship to reality itself. Or maybe the reality you think is reality that isn't even reality. Because it's just a projection of your conditioning. That's all it is. That's what life is. It's a projection of your conditioning. So let's change our conditioning so that we can see the life that we want to see. And then if you do that, then you won't just talk about peace, you will actually become peace. And that changes everything. So again, I would love for you to join Rewired for Peace. I'm going to pop the link in the chat again. We do 2 tracks in one cohort. I'll put it up here. Again, so it depends on which you can do either day in the week sort of thing, either Tuesdays or Saturdays. Um, and you know how I said earlier, this is the last one. You know how like a lot of people, I do it. I'm guilty of this. Like January 1st or December 31st comes around and you're like, okay, what are the my goals for this year? And then we make all these commitments. I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week and I'm going to da da da. And it just like 3 weeks into it, we fall flat on our face, right? You have an opportunity now by jumping in this last class to rewire your entire context so that when you kick into 2026, you're already the soil for all those visions and goals and things that you want to create in 2026. So it would give you a complete head start, and you can set yourself up to have a 2026 that wasn't going to happen. It was not going to happen given who you are today. And who you are today, most likely, is the same person that you will be in January 1st, 2026. Unless you really take what I'm sharing in this call and really start working on your being. Right? So let's land all this together. Right? So in the last 40 minutes or so, you saw how your mind filters reality, right? For some of you in the bird and the hand exercise, or the Paris and the spring, right? You've also caught your old story, right? I'm not good enough or whatever it is. You've created a new story, a new context, one that aligns with peace, connection, love, joy, possibility, power, whatever it is, right? You created this new space, this new field. And that's not just personal growth. That's us being together for 42 minutes, and that's more of a consciousness evolution. Take a breath. And imagine 6 weeks from now, or from when the class starts next week, grounded, right? Awake, unshakable, responding with compassion instead of being defensive, or leading with presence and humility instead of like control and fear and dominance. Maybe even just being that calm in this noisy world that we're in. That is what Rewired for Peace is. It's not a course, but a movement toward a more awakened you, and therefore a more awakened humanity, creating the results we were born and intended to create. Right? I want peace on the planet in my lifetime. I could easily, join the Peace Corps or go out and demonstrate, or what. I could do a lot of things, right? Wanting to create peace. But what I've chosen is to create creative peacemakers like you, right? So that we all are just being it out there. Because there really isn't a lot we can quote unquote do about it. but we can share our love. We can share our connection, our vulnerability, our intimacy, our love, our successes, all of it. Because when enough, like enough of us choose peace over judgment, or love over fear, or connection over control or righteousness, then peace on earth stops being a dream. It just becomes a byproduct of who we are. So, my invitation to you guys, I'm gonna not leave it. We're gonna do some, if you have questions or any, aha moments or whatever you want to, if you have a question or you want to share with me, I'll give you some time for that. But my invitation is to join me. It doesn't start next week. Yeah, it does start next week. Next Saturday it starts. So let's rewire ourselves, right? And together, let's create a world that works, for everyone, right? So, any questions? I see a question here in the chat. I am studying for boards at 60, going back to work because why not? I'm capable and strong. Yes, you are. Is that your new story? I love it. Oh, did Lisette leave or no, she's still here? Oh, there you are. Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right, so any questions? Let me put this on. There we go, so I can see everyone better. Any questions about the course? Any questions about what I just dropped here today? Or any how the hell do I be? Because I don't want you to say, how do I do that? How do I be that? All right, I'm the boy who keeps throwing the starfish one by one into the sea. Save that one. Exactly. Exactly. Well, if you guys don't have any questions, I will also email you a link. I would love to have you in this class. It's already turning out to be some really awesome, powerful people in this course, and you fit right in there. And again, we start Saturday. Yes, Jade. We start Saturday the 8th or Tuesday the 11th. And then for those of you that may have already done trainings like transformational trainings that used to be like the gratitude trainings. I also offer a certification to actually teach the Rewired for Peace course. And that certification also starts on the 11th. And if you have done enough work and you do an interview with me, I can let you do both at the same time. And if you do that and you do the certification, you get the Rewired for Peace as part of the package anyway. So if you're interested in that, you know what I'll do? I'm going to drop my phone number, WhatsApp number, because I'm in Spain, in the chat. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to contact me because I am here. All right. Everybody good? We're ending a little early. That's nice. A little short, quick thing. Hopefully I will see you on the 8th or the 11th and have a beautiful rest of the day. I'm going to have a great evening and great to see all of you on the call. Bye.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you.